Many in my line have been dragon riders. Very few among us have been dreamers. What is the power of a dragon? It's the power of prophecy.
The hour is too late, husband.
When Rhaenyra was a child, I saw it in a dream. As vivid as these flames, I saw it. A male babe, born to me, wearing the conqueror's crown. I so wanted it to be true. To be a dreamer myself. I sought that vision again, night after night. But it never came again. I poured all my thought and will into it. My obsession killed Rhaenyra's mother.
Viserys.
I thought Rhaenyra was the way out of my abyss of grief and regret. And naming her heir would begin to set things right.
Oh, it did.
I never imagined I would remarry. That I would have a son. What if I was wrong?
From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to The House of the Dragon with Mary and Blake. It's a podcast dedicated to The House of the Dragon on HBO. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about fire and blood. My name's Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and there's one thing I know about good old King Viserys. Not a good user of the secret. Definitely not a good user of the secret. I think he had his journal, maybe, that he was writing his gratitude journal.
Yeah.
And he wasn't envisioning it as if it already happened. I think he was just thinking, oh, this is going to happen. Big difference. Huge difference.
Huge.
You got to act like you already got it. You got to act like you got the king.
You've learned so much, Blake. You have learned so very much. I'm so proud of you. Well, hi,
the
everybody.
fact that I know all of this makes me want to puke. Just want to.
Why?
Because not in on the secret and manifestation.
You're not in on positive mindset.
No, positive mindset, great thing. Manifestation, it's a little harder for me to accept.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
I rock it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I know I
Big
do.
fan.
All right, everybody. So, of course, we're chatting about the House of the Dragon. We had a crazy episode take place this weekend. We wanted to let you know that this episode of House of the Dragon with Mary and Blake is sponsored by MinuteWithMary.com. If you are someone who enjoys either makeup or skincare or both, I wanted to invite you personally to my beauty website. In addition to podcasting and being a mom, that is the other thing that I'm very passionate about, helping people feel more confident and creative. So thank you, MinuteWithMary.com customers, for making all of this possible. All right, let's get into the show.
All right, Marvin, your mini plot recap. What happened in episode 103?
All right, so 3 years has passed by. It's been crazy because not only has 3 years passed by, but they've been at war in the Stepstones for 3 years. So, of course, that was Lord Corlys and Prince Daemon. They were battling the Crabfeeder person for 3 flippin' years. My goodness gracious, not getting any better. King Viserys and now Queen Alicent have a son named Aegon, and it is his second birthday. And Alicent is pregnant with their second child. She is ready to pop. And this is just all making Rhaenyra feel like poop, okay? Alicent's ready to pop. Rhaenyra feels like poop, and she's just pouting, and everyone cares about Aegon's birthday party, and it just rubs it in Rhaenyra's face that she's not a boy, and they go and they have this hunt for his birthday party, because that's what a 2-year-old wants. A hunt. And in addition to that, all of these guys are trying to hook up with Rhaenyra. Marry me, marry my son, marry your baby brother. Stupid little guys. Anyway, that's what happened. Rhaenyra and her
Sir Criston
kill a boar. And at the end, Daemon gets mad because his brother said, fine, I'll come save you. And Daemon says, screw this. I'm going to go kill the Crabfeeder myself.
And he does.
And he does.
Well, you know.
That's what happened.
Speaking about the birthday party, Mary, we all know that the first and second birthday party, it's never for the kid. It's always for the adults. It's like the baby's room. It's never for the baby. It's always for the adult.
Yep.
Because that's just how it goes. Like, it's a celebration of the fact that the kid survived this whole time, despite your parenting. So that's how that goes. All right, this was entitled, episode 103, Second of His Name, which is in reference, obviously, of course, to Aegon II, the son of the King Viserys. The director was once again Greg Yaitanes. He had directed the previous episode, and the writers were Ryan J. Condal, who is the showrunner of this episode, and Gabe Fonseca. Gabe has written a bunch of different television, but primarily for the show Private Practice. So if you're a fan of that, he served as a staff writer and wrote a couple of episodes for that show. He also has done The Night Shift, the television series, and he also wrote for Jessica Jones, the Marvel show on the Netflix. Actually, now it's on Disney+. And he also wrote the TV series Wu-Tang, an American Saga. So that is that for the writers. Yes, it is. And some little bit of news dropped, Mary, about the showrunners for Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And I wanted to go over this actually before we get into our flame ratings and do all the other stuff. Miguel Sapochnik, who was the co-showrunner and the primary director for House of the Dragon, has left the show.
What?
Yes, has left the show. He will not be returning for season 2. Now, this is not one of those like, oh, I hate where the show is going or I don't want to do this. He and Ryan Condal were friends. And Ryan Condal was intended to be the real showrunner. And then Condal would go to Miguel Sapochnik and be like, hey, you know, like, you're obviously very familiar with the Game of Thrones universe. He would constantly go to him and ask him about his opinion and, you know, what about this and what about that? And finally, it got into the point where Sapochnik was like, they both decided, okay, maybe I should be showrunner with you. And
I almost feel like, buddy, if you're taking up this much time of mine, I kind of want to be paid for it. You're calling me every day, and I have to talk to you for 2 hours.
So
throw me a bone.
The deal was, I think, the way that the Sapochnik and Condal have talked about it on the interwebs was that it was going to be a 1-year thing, and then he decided, okay, I'm moving on to different projects because I've now spent however many years on Thrones in the Thrones universe. I want to move on to different projects and spread my wings here a little bit more, which makes sense to me. So it's not one of those, oh, I hate this show, get me out of here. I hate Condal, I hate Gurm. I'm just moving on. And what they are doing is they are replacing Sapochnik, not necessarily as a co-showrunner, but they are bringing in Alan Taylor, who is a Game of Thrones alum, and he directed many of the great episodes of Game of Thrones. And he is also a Sopranos alum, and he actually just directed the new Sopranos movie, as well as Thor: The Dark World. So this guy is a very talented director, someone, like, who gets the universe, who gets HBO, who gets, the inner workings of how this world feels. So it's really important that they're bringing on another A+ director for season 2, and he's going to be one of the creative forces behind season 2 as well. So just a fun bit of knowledge, and putting you into the hands of where the show is at this present moment. As a result, Mary, we are talking about episode 103. Your flame rating. How many flames are you giving this episode?
I'm going to give this here episode a 4.5.
Okay, good. Very good. I'm giving this episode a 4.1. We're getting up there now. I feel like this was a sneaky good episode. This is one of those episodes where you just like, you look back and you say, oh, okay, I get it. I see where all of this started. I see where it jumped off of itself. And I think this is that episode. I can feel it coming from here. So your GBG, Mary, what do you got for your good, your bad? And you're great.
Ooh, well, my good is I'm shipping a princess and a knight.
What?
I'm totally shipping Princess Rhaenyra and
Sir Criston Cole.
Sir Criston Cole. I just think that they understand each other. They've obviously had 3 years together. He owes her everything. I think that's really cool. He makes her feel worthy. And part of me is sitting here saying, does she even want to be queen? You know? I know she's complaining, say everyone wants my brother, but does she want it? The energy she's giving off is no.
I feel like the energy she's giving off is, yeah.
I think she needs to have a bit more of a positive mindset then, because...
Well, she's learning from her dad. How can you expect...
Exactly. I mean, part of me thinks, do you ever dream about, she says, like, nobody understands what I go through and I'm envious of them. Okay, you know what? There's been people who've given up their crown before. I watched The Crown on Netflix. Mm-hmm. You can do it.
You can abdicate.
You can just go live in the country together and kill boars. So that's my good. I just enjoyed their time.
He's part of the Kingsguard. He's not allowed to,
I know, but that's what I'm saying is shift things up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
See, I'm gonna not be queen. I'm gonna take him.
Gotcha.
Now my brother can have it and everyone can be happy. So I just enjoyed their time together and I like how they were able to appreciate each other.
Fair enough.
My bad, the Crabfeeder's death was incredibly anticlimactic. Do I need a full-out battle between him and Daemon? No. Obviously, Daemon wins. This guy has grayscale. We don't even see him move. He just moves his head and his eyes every once in a while. By the way, his eyes, yuck. So I know that it was an easy kill, but I just feel like we spent so much time with this creepy crab feeder, Phantom of the Opera pirate, and it's done.
Maybe
they've been fighting for 3 years. There's no backstory. Who are these pirates? Why are they so mad? Why do they want to hang out in these caves? What are they fighting for? All of this has gone on.
Well, they're fighting for the Triarchy.
For what purpose?
To take over the Stepstones and that whole area, the free cities, and run their own thing.
Why do they want it?
Because they want the trade
so
routes.
Badly?
They want the trade routes.
Well, I could have used a little bit more. Okay, I just feel like I wasted my time on a boogeyman.
Maybe he was too busy listening to the music of the night.
That's what I feel like. I just feel like he was a boogeyman that someone eventually had to get rid of.
Yeah, but isn't that cooler?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh, I want to have this conversation.
And then my great is the scene between Viserys and Princess Rhaenyra when he's telling her, I'm not going to make you marry someone. Okay? You can choose. And I'm not going to take away your crown. I've already told you that a million times. I want you as queen, and you can pick whoever you want.
Gotcha.
That was my favorite.
All right, good. All right, for me, the good was... I have it written another way, but I'm going to do it this way. My good is the fact that Daemon doesn't speak a single word in this episode. Not one word. Doesn't say anything to anybody. He just shows up, gets the note, looks at it, reads it, beats the hell out of the guy, which, by the way, loved that move from him. It's a little Kylo Ren-y, but I'll take it. And then he just is a one-man army and defeats basically the entire Crabfeeder army altogether, although, he does get some luck involved here too. But and then he takes out the Crabfeeder. And again, just doesn't say a single word. His actions define who he is in this episode. And in doing so, he has thereby created a myth. That is awesome.
Agreed.
My bad is not necessarily the reconciliation with Rhaenyra, which is your great, Mary, but it's the fact that we get another reconciliation with Rhaenyra. It feels like a same plot beat that we had in the last episode. And how many times are we going to be able to do this, right? And even as I wrote this, I thought about that, thinking, well, is that more of an affectation of the relationship that they share? Is it something that she is a teenager and she's going to just constantly fight him and they're going to constantly have to make up, and that's just their relationship? But then again, I thought, yeah, but the reality is not an excuse for storytelling. So why are we repeating the same exact story beat here? Shouldn't we move on to something different? I like the fact that it happened. I like the fact that he promised her this thing. And it seems like he doesn't fully believe in that promise at the end of the conversation. Nevertheless, why are we repeating? But my great is the fire pit scene between Alicent and the king. I love that scene, and this is why this episode to me is sneaky good. Because this episode has more to do, I think, with the king than anybody else. You can make an argument that parallel to the king's story is Daemon's story and how they reflect each other. Irrespective of that, I think what the king does and what he says to Alicent and how that will affect Alicent on her own, what that does in terms of her friendship or lack thereof with Rhaenyra and how that sets her apart from Rhaenyra, you can tell now that the show is setting up Alicent versus Rhaenyra.
Yes.
No matter what. It's not Rhaenyra versus Daemon. It's not Rhaenyra versus Rhaenys. It is Alicent versus Rhaenyra. And in the middle is caught the king. And what that means for him and his family and how that how his decisions are taking down his own family, which in and of itself is reflective of his legacy, which I think he's so concerned with.
Yes.
And how he will be his own undoing. I love where that was going. So that is that, Mary. That is my good. That is my great. And that is my bad. Or my good
awesome.
bad.
We know what you're saying. Yeah. We know what you're saying.
All right, you ready for the small council feedback? See what everybody else said? All right, let's do it.
His Grace has many cares. He entrusts some small matters to us that we might lighten the load.
We are the lords of small matters here.
Starting things off is Shannon Ripshear. She said, I hated Daemon in the first episode. I hated him a little less in the second. But the third, I must admit, he's growing on me. Corlys is my favorite, though, and I feel like Lionel Strong is a strong contender to be a favorite, too, as he feels safe to trust. But I'm trying not to grow attached, because the last time I had two favorite characters in Game of Thrones, they died in this same episode.
Susan Masood Farley says, the best episode so far. But I have a dumb question, though. How is a guy with dragons losing a war? Why doesn't he just have the dragon destroy the Crabfeeder's land and army? They may have addressed that, but I've only watched it once. And Susan, let me answer that question. The way that it's proposed in the show is the dragons showed up, and each time the dragons showed up, they would the Crabfeeder's army would hide in caves. So liken it to how things were in Afghanistan. Like, yeah, you can bomb the hell out of them and have all these things, but when you can't reach them because they're in mountains or they're in caves, doesn't matter how many dragons you have, It's not going to work. So that is why someone could be losing the war. And it's not necessarily just the fact that, all these guys are dying. It's the morale of all of this. Like, we keep fighting, we keep doing this, and nothing is changing, which is why it's so pivotal that Daemon does what he does at the end of this episode. And the last one, Mary?
And the last writer in for the small council is Miss Whitney Owens. 5 Flames. This is the TV I've been missing since Game of Thrones ended. I mean, I have chills. I had tears at one point. I was cheering the entire episode, and I feel bad that this is what the Rings of Power has to compete with, because it has been such good television.
All right, we also have some voicemails. You ready for this too?
Sure am.
Let's do it.
Hi, Miriam Blake. It is Gloria. I'm really enjoying House of the Dragon, but I've yet to give it a perfect score of 5 Flames. This was a 4.5 to me. I think we're going to get time jumps in almost every episode. At least that's what it seems like. As for the performances, the actors who portrayed a king in Otto, and he'll be middle finger to me from now on, were the standouts of the episode. Okay, Viserys, after 3 years, you're going to finally do something to help your brother? Daemon's like, no effing way. I'm taking him down, and literally sprints into the mountain and comes out with half a Crabfeeder. It was pretty gross, but look cool. I wanted more of the Crabfeeder story. He seemed to just be there to give Daemon something to do. Seeing another dragon, Sea Smoke, was great, though. I think his writer is Lenore, the son of the Valerians. The battle scene was wicked good. But how many arrows were coming at him at the same time and only 2 or 3 hit him? He's a great fighter, but certainly not the Flash or Superman. I would have loved to see that fight between Daemon and Crab Guy. Jason Lannister, trying to woo Rhaenyra. Dude, back off. She is not interested. He has a lot of cojones. Or as my family likes to say, gulanachis. I like the whole Sir Criston and Rhaenyra dynamic. They're cute and clearly getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the princess went to town on the boar. Nice touch.
Well, looks like she got cut off there. Sorry, Gloria. But I appreciate everything that you're saying. And Mary, I think this is when I want to have this conversation because Gloria brought it up. And you seem to bring it up too, which is you wanted more from the Crabfeeder. You wanted to know more about him. You wanted to know like a little bit more of a backstory. My contention, and I honestly believe this isn't like, just for the sake of conversation. Part of me just likes the fact that that he's there and you just know that he's there. You know that it's a problem.
I guess my problem is that if this was later in the series, later in the season, later in the series, I would have listened a little bit more. But to have this person, this issue pop up in the initial 2 episodes when I'm just trying to figure out who the main players are. I'm meeting so many people. I don't even know how to say all of their names. I'm trying to figure out where people are going, who's good, who's bad. I feel like it got lost in the shuffle. If and what they told us, oh, he's fighting because he wants the land because it's a trade route. Like, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm pretty much Team Viserys in regards to let's just focus on what's going inside my own walls, my own 4 walls.
Yep.
So because it was just dropped in with other things, I just didn't have the backstory that I feel like I needed for him to be such a threat.
I think my counter argument would be to you that it comes down to that's probably the best time to do it. Because yes, is he nothing more than just there for Daemon to conquer? Probably. But if you're going to insert something like that, right now is the time to do it. Like how we talked about in one of the previous episodes, this world has been existing without you, Mary, and me, and all the viewers. And the world continues to exist when the show ends. And then it picks back up again with the next episode. So it reminds me of shows that or movies that just plop you right into the middle of the story, and then you have to figure it out. And if you're going to just plop somebody in to be an obstacle, doing it in the beginning as an inciting incident for the remainder of the characters, I think is the right choice. What you're doing is you're saying, this guy's a problem. What he's really doing, why he's doing it, isn't necessarily pertinent, but just know that it's a problem. This poses a threat to the Targaryens, and this sets up some major confrontation, not necessarily for the Stepstones, because the Stepstones are a largely irrelevant area of Westeros, but because the conflict sets up issues between the king and his brother, Lord Corlys, and what that means for the Targaryen line of succession. Like, this is the thing that spawns it. Why it spawns it isn't necessarily relevant.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it makes him more of like a scary figure. Like, this guy shows up. He doesn't say anything to anybody. He has grayscale. He's Phantom of the Opera. And it makes him...
I just don't care. I don't care about Corlys. So when he's saying, oh,
Fair.
These are my lands, these are my people, I don't care about you.
Fair. What I will say, though, and
like, have the Crabfeeder kill some women and children and, do bad things that I can see, not just feeding some guy to crabs. Yes, that was gross, but give me a bigger impact so I actually care about you.
Yeah. And I will say this too. Not showing Daemon take out the Crabfeeder, bold choice, because this is a person that we have set up as an obstacle. You want to see Daemon take out the obstacle. What did you think about not showing the fight and what that means for Daemon and the show in general? Like, why make that choice, do you think?
Because it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because they've made it abundantly clear. The Crabfeeder doesn't matter.
Well, he matters to an extent, but not.
No, but Daemon's what matters.
Correct.
So we don't need to see. Daemon's going to say, I'm glad I could kill you and my brother couldn't. / Is that what he's going to say?
Yeah, like, what's the point? Like,
exactly.
He doesn't seem like that much of an imposing physical figure that it would be a big deal for Daemon to fight him.
However, will Daemon now get grayscale?
That's a good question.
Because you'd just be touching that whole person. You got his blood all over you.
That's a really good question.
Didn't see a mask.
If he doesn't get grayscale, I will be surprised. And I will also say, unless it's not grayscale, but it certainly looks like it was. And if he doesn't get it, that kind of undermines what happened to Ser Jorah back in Game of Thrones. So, like, you can't have it both ways. What happens? You know, and does Daemon get grayscale, and does he get healed from it? I think that's all valid questions. All right, Mary, it's time.
It is time.
It's time for your dad.
Yes.
It's your dad segment. Here we go. For those of you who are just catching up with us right now, Mary's dad is watching House of the Dragon as well, and we started this last episode, and this is quickly becoming a favorite segment of mine. It is Mary's dad's thoughts on House of the Dragon, episode 103.
Hi, it's Mary's dad. After watching the second episode of House of Dragons, I thought it was pretty neat that Prince Daemon came through as a superhero. They sent him out basically on a suicide mission to draw the enemy out of their caves, and he was pretty impressive in what he did. I was a little bit sad to see him kill the Crabfeeder right off the bat. I was kind of hoping that guy would be around for a few more episodes. He was pretty interesting. So now he's going to come back as the great hero. And if I had to make a prediction, I would bet that they're going to try to pair the princess up with the prince. So he gets to eventually be king, but she gets to be the heir and the next in line for the throne. So that's my thoughts on it. I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks.
Mary, your thoughts on your dad's thoughts.
Me and my dad are on the same page. We needed more Crabfeeder. Okay? Needed a little bit more.
A little bit more?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about his hot take here? His hot take about Daemon and Rhaenyra getting put together.
This is how royals do it, man. I think my dad's onto something.
You know what?
Bam! Just like that. A winner!
I think he's right.
I'm down for it.
I think this is the way that it's going for.
Thank God my dad didn't marry me off to my brother.
Oh no, that would
be
bad
not
news.
have gone well.
That would be bad news because that means you wouldn't be with me.
I know,
and you wouldn't be listening to this podcast.
No,
listener.
and it'd be kind of gross. Well done, Dad.
So, okay, Mary, we talked about the Crabfeeder, and we talked about how you needed more of him.
I'm over it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of over it too. I mean, he is an obstacle. The obstacle has been solved, and the show is moving on. But I think that the show is more concerned with, like, I know we watched the ending of the episode, inside the episode with Ryan Condal, and he's like, oh, this is the episode where everything changes for everybody, and Alicent and Rhaenyra, they step out and their lives have changed. Even the king has changed, and Daemon has changed. But even though there is this great dichotomy with Rhaenyra and Aegon, and how that their succession seems to be intertwined almost, I think the show is more concerned with the legacy between Daemon and Viserys. Do you agree with that, or do you think the show right now is more concerned with Rhaenyra?
I think they're showing both.
Okay.
I think it's Viserys, not necessarily Rhaenyra versus Aegon. I mean, he's two.
No, I know. What I mean is like...
But more Viserys having this kind of like triangle situation where he's being pulled to care about his daughter. He's being pulled about this issue with his brother. But honestly, he's not giving his brother much thought.
Right.
I think it's more being pulled by the kingdom versus his daughter.
Yeah. I guess what I mean is it's not necessarily Daemon through the eyes of his brother, but it's more about Daemon and his sense of his own legacy, in addition to Viserys with his sense of his own legacy. Like, I think they're running those stories parallel. Mm-hmm. And I would love to know your thoughts if the show right now is concerning itself with those parallel stories as opposed to, is it more concerned with like proving that Rhaenyra is going to be the queen, or is it setting up Rhaenyra versus Alicent? Like, which is it more concerned with, do you think?
You're confusing.
Okay, no problem.
I think that the show is just trying to say this whole family's messed up.
Yes.
That's why it's called the House of the Dragon. And Viserys right now is the father figure and in charge of this entire family unit. Mm-hmm. And I think it's showing the difficulties having with his family.
I guess I'm struggling with it because the show itself has two distinct storylines happening, and that is the Stepstones with Daemon, and obviously the stuff that's happening with Viserys and the name day for Aegon, and intertwined in that is Rhaenyra. It's almost like two separate episodes in one. Like I feel like in a lesser show there would be two episodes.
But Game of Thrones did that all the time. You know,
Right.
You'd spend some time with one family and some time with another. It's just that we are hyper focusing on this one particular family.
Right. So, and I like the fact that it feels almost like two separate episodes in one, because
I would have been bored if either of these storylines were just by themselves. If I just spent time camping, finding the stag, I kind of would have been bored.
Sure.
If I just spent time, battling the Crabfeeder, I would have been bored. And so what this was able to do was we were able to have this crazy battle scene,
mm-hmm.
but also have these more tender one-on-one conversations.
Mm-hmm. So I think the show is also giving us through this episode, and this is why I call it sneaky good, because the show is giving us some more meat to the bone. Like for the past two episodes, we've said, okay, there's a lot of like machinations happening here. There's a lot of political maneuvering, but not in a way that Game of Thrones used to do it, but it's more concerned with like setting up the world and understanding the new families, understanding the new positions. And we have a bunch of people who are just characters that exist, like Lionel Strong.
I love him.
He's a guy that exists.
Nope.
Yeah.
He's my man.
Why do you think he's your man?
He's my new favorite.
Why is he your new favorite?
Because he's got a solid head on his shoulders.
He's still saying, go marry Laner? Or
no,
wait.
He's saying, now your daughter should marry your cousin. That's what Lionel Strong is saying.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I like Lionel Strong.
Go marry the Valerian
and
boy.
I loved that Viserys was like, what, are you going to ask me to have her marry your brother, your son, whatever?
Yeah, right.
Your family anyway? No. I'm sticking to the same thing I told you 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that this is still the best thing. I'm a huge fan of Lionel.
All right. So, nevertheless, I still think the show is giving us more meat to the bone. We're finally getting something from the king that is outside of, I'm a good guy. Like, you can see that he's really struggling with just this decision that he's made now about Rhaenyra and how that is affecting him. Like, his doubt that he's casting on himself. You know, I never thought I would have a boy. Like, I never thought any of this would happen, and here I am. I thought that Rhaenyra would make this all better, and it's worse. Have I made the wrong choice? And even when he does say to her, Rhaenyra, I'm not going to replace you, as she walks away, he has this disconcerting look like, I don't know if I can live up to this. Like, I know I just said that, but this does not feel right. And this is real stuff from this king.
I took it as more, I feel like I just can't make anything right. She still isn't happy. She didn't give me a hug.
Yeah.
She didn't say, thanks, Dad, I love you. I didn't take it as, I have so many deep things to think about. I think he's a softie and he needs a hug.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Like, the fact that you can pull that from that conversation, that means characterization. So either way, whichever way you want to look at it, you're getting something from that character other than what he's named, what he looks like, and what he does. Mm-hmm. That you're getting something.
Yes.
And that's really good. I think you're getting the same thing from Daemon. He has been so far the most well-written character. That isn't saying that isn't setting the bar really high, because the first two episodes, I think, again, it was struggling with the world and getting us back into the world. But now we finally get this moment where you can actually see something that Daemon is doing that is informed by his emotions, by an actual choice. everyone was saying, oh, well, who's going to be this sacrificial lamb? Who are we going to send to the Crabfeeder? This is a suicide mission. Who in the right world is going to do that? And the next thing you know, visually, and the storytelling is telling you this, it's going to be Daemon, because he lands Caraxes and he goes up to the table. But then he beats the snot out of that courier, and then he just doesn't say a word and keeps going. And what we have learned in the middle of these 3 years is that this battle has gone on. Daemon is the one that's fighting it. People think that he is not a good commander, but he still keeps going. And he gets this letter from his brother and says, F it, I'm going to take care of this myself. And does it. And that's why I say the show is concerned with his legacy too, because he knows that he finally got his brother's attention. But he also, at the same time, can't allow his brother to win. Because if he does, that means he will lose out on the glory that he went to go seek from the Stepstones. So I really, really like this. Are you finding any other characters that are getting more meat to the bone that seem to provide a little bit more of texture for our characters?
I think just everybody. I think everybody is getting a little bit more sustenance to who they are. We're seeing everything happening with the Hightowers, continuing to weave a little bit of a dark web. I agree with you. The stuff with Daemon going to show that, no, I'm not going to let my brother win this one. It will not go down in the history books that he saved me. That my weak brother saved me and saved these lands. I am the one that's been fighting, and I'm going to be the one that finishes this. We're seeing more with Rhaenyra now taking things a bit more seriously, like you were saying, and standing up for herself with all those biddies.
Yeah.
The difficulty when you're adding a bit more layers of building on these characters is we did get a slew of new people introduced to us at this hunt. And at the now we have the new aged up cousin, who's the dragon rider, who ended up also helping and saving the day. So there's just a lot of people. And obviously this show is incredibly well written. So we know that anyone who was mentioned, if you had a name in this episode, if someone talked to you, then you're going to be somebody important. So I myself definitely think that we had growth and layers now added to all of the core characters, all of the core Targaryen characters.
Sure.
But I also think what was really cool in this episode is we were just introduced to a lot of people and we have no idea if they're good, they're bad. I feel like I'm at a murder mystery party. Like, okay, is the guy with the crooked foot, is he going to be good or bad?
Oh, I have some thoughts about it. I got some thoughts about him.
These little biddies who are gossiping, are they going to be good and bad? I don't know. Is the cousin who's now aged up and ready to rock it on a dragon, is he going to be good or bad? I don't even know, but I'm so excited.
He's rocking a dragon. Okay, that's all that matters.
Yes.
That guy is taking that dragon, sea smoke, and just ripping people left and right. Yeah, we have some new Lannisters. We have the new cousin. Oh, well, we have the cousin. We have Larys Strong, who is the clubfoot guy. We have Aemond Valerian, who's the brother of Corlys Valerian. We got a lot of new people.
We got Hightower's brother.
Oh, yes.
I didn't realize they were brothers.
Neither did I.
So there were two brothers on the council. On the small council.
One of them is a council member.
So
Otto is the council member. And the new Lannister,
who? But wasn't old Otto's brother? Isn't he in the small council?
No, he's not. No,
then
he's not.
He has a look-alike, some other old guy.
So we got a lot of new members, and Lord Corlys has been replaced by Tyland Lannister as the Master of Ships. So now we're starting. By the way, I love how the Tyland Lannister was introduced. All you saw was the lion sigil. That's it.
Yep.
You didn't need to know he was a Lannister. You didn't need to say it. The king just says Tyland, and you see the sigil, and you know that's a Lannister. And all you get is that he is the Master of Ships now.
Yeah,
it's so cool. I like how that happens. Mary,
Blake.
what did you think about the... Oh, actually, you know what? I will add another thing about some characterization for another character here. And I want to mention Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is like, she's an interesting character because she is full of piss and vinegar, really, in my opinion.
What does that mean for people who don't know?
It's just like, she's just fiery, man. Everything gets her up and running, and little things anger her and little things get her excited, and she's just piss and vinegar. Like, she's just ready to rock at all times. But I like this sneaky little subtext that we have. When we last saw Rhaenyra and Alicent in the Godswood, Alicent was reading the histories, and Rhaenyra was the one who really wasn't paying attention. And in this episode, we once again see Rhaenyra in the Godswood during, all the festivities and that are when they're in King's Landing. And Rhaenyra is reading the histories with much more intent. Very carefully reading it, asking the little minstrel to play the same song over and over and over again. That to me shows some growth for her, and not necessarily like in a deep and meaningful way, like, oh, she's changing as a person, but it shows you the fact that she has evolved from the person that was sitting in Alicent's lap to a person that is becoming very defiant and won't even look at her when she's speaking and is now paying attention to the thing, right?
Okay, continue.
No, go ahead, go.
It made me think so much of an angsty teenager who keeps pushing replay, has the replay button on their song. Yeah. And, the parent comes in the room, hey, did you clean up? No. And just won't even look. I'm listening to my song, and they're just sitting there brooding because now Alicent's like her faux mom is her stepmom. Hey, honey, it's time to go out. No, I don't want to. I'm listening to my jam. This is my jam. Mom.
I absolutely did that. I totally did that.
Did what?
I totally would sit there and just listen to my song.
Of course you would.
Of course I did. Because you know what?
Because we all did. We all did. And if you're sitting there saying, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. You had your broody song or your happy song.
Yeah, I did that with The Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots. I would just sit in my room and listen to The Big Empty. Constantly.
Yes.
They're like, yes, Mom, I'm going to vacuum, okay? And then turn the song back up again in defiance. Oh, that's an old cut for you nerds out there.
Okay.
Anyway, what did you think about the opening? Because I really liked the opening. That felt to me a lot like the Game of Thrones world, where you see the Valyrian sigil on fire, and the guy is being hammered to the wood by the Crabfeeder, and he's like, my people are gonna come for you, my princes are gonna come, and we're gonna get you. And he puts the crab on his face, and he's about to get eaten, and then Prince Daemon comes with the dragon. Yeah, save me! And the dragon just stomps this poor guy. I loved that was when I felt like I am in Game of Thrones world.
Yes, you are.
That felt very much like an ironic beginning, one that, because Game of Thrones, I think, is can be, and when I say Game of Thrones, I don't mean the show, I mean the world, okay? Mm-hmm. The Game of Thrones world can be very dark, and it can be very careless and unforgiving, and almost, I dare say, hopeless because of all the things that happen. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, was one of those scenes that perfectly encapsulated the Game of Thrones world.
I love that you got so deep. And in my head, I just thought, and that's why you don't get a dragon for a pet.
that makes me think of Arrested Development. Remember the guy that was just like, and that's why you'll always leave a note. He pulls his arm off.
Yep.
That's why. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, Mary, talk to me about the big symbolic moments of this episode, and that, of course, is the hunt for the White Hart, and what that mention of finding this big white stag and how that could portend well for Aegon II, and giving validation to his succession for the king. And then not finding one. What did you make of all of the hunt and everything that came along with that?
Oh, I just love when people are really looking for signs. Oh, maybe that's what this white stag is meant to be. And there's just so many other variables and so many other people. And this is what you put your investment in. The country's investment is if you find a white stag or not. You fool. But of course we get the white stag at the end. The hunt itself was grandiose. Mm-hmm. Looks amazing. Looks like it smells amazing. I think that it's very well portrayed as this is how it probably happened back in the medieval times, where it was just a big old party. And really, you weren't, as a king, you weren't the one really going out and doing all this stuff. Mm-hmm. They will find the poop, tell you this poop is fresh or not fresh. Oh, I loved when the king was smelling the poop and he's like, oh, it smells fresh. And the person's like, yeah, it was a couple days ago.
No, a couple hours.
Oh, a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Which, is that fresh? I don't know. What makes poop fresh? Does that mean in 4 hours, how far could a stag go?
Yeah, what is the cutoff point for fresh poop?
Yeah, like I almost felt like the guy was telling him, no, you're wrong, man. That's not like a recent poop. That's from this morning.
Well, think of it. Like, how far can you walk in 3 hours?
A stag?
Yeah, so like how far can a stag go? I mean, you got to figure in time to like stop, drink a little bit of water.
Okay, cheetah goes 30 miles per hour? That's how much the T-Rex goes, right?
Well, that's a constant run. But we're not constantly, the stag ain't constantly running.
I don't know, maybe the stag knows it's being chased. I'd be running. If I heard the horns.
But maybe he's like, he's taking some water, maybe he's eating a couple of leaves.
Maybe 10 miles.
No way. I will say in a matter of 3 hours, this stag goes at most 2 miles. Most.
Fine. And then, of course, they catch it because the king doesn't catch it, and they tie it all up.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even stab it the right way.
Oh, man, which I think works on a couple of different levels. One, in a way that shows how Viserys is an ineffectual leader, that he can't seem to get it right. Like his fears are coming true that like maybe he just can't seem to get it right. And I think it also indicates that the world is suffering. Like the Westeros itself is suffering as a result of the king being so ineffectual. Like the guy stabs it, he says, "No, you missed it," and the deer, the stag, whatever, it wails out in pain and suffering, and then he stabs it again, and still wails, and that's it. And everybody around him is silent, and those wails just feels like the world crying out in pain, like, "Yo, what's happening here is really messing things up," and it's just.
And even if you try, you give the best effort and you plunge it in there,
it ain't gonna work. And it of course, I think it means something too that the Lannisters are the ones that give him, the thing to stab him with, the spear to stab him with, because the Lannisters are going to become a really important family in Westeros.
Correct.
But they're not going to be the most effective family in Westeros.
They're also not that big of a deal right now.
No, they're not. They're a mid-tier family at most. They're a level of Baratheon.
And one of the twins is an absolute jabroni.
What a clown show that guy is.
He does not know proper pickup lines for a princess.
I mean, how do you even... But honest to God, though, I give him credit for at least going and giving it a shot. Like, shooter's gonna shoot, okay?
Yeah, appreciate.
You miss every shot that you don't. You miss every shot that you don't take, okay? I'm just saying.
And of course, they're twins.
Played by the same actor, by the way. They're not actual twins. Same dude.
Love it.
So What? Okay, you're Rhaenyra, all right? And this Lannister guy comes up to you. What do you expect him to say to you?
Hey, what's your favorite part to eat of a stag?
That's what you got?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know.
What, is he trying?
I'm just trying to get into the mind of a female.
I don't know, man. I'm not here for this right now.
Fair enough.
I don't want to be hit on at a picnic, pig roast, stag murder.
You know what you want to do? You want to go kill a boar. That's what you want to do. What do you think about that scene?
Why was that boar so angry?
Because boars are, man. Boars gore. That's what they do.
That's terrible.
Just ask Geordie in Outlander. That's what happened to him.
And Robert Baratheon.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
That's how he ended.
Good point. Mm-hmm. So do you make anything of this relationship?
She obviously needs a stress ball.
Oh, yeah.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah, she let loose a little bit.
And the person who had the ketchup bottle equivalent of fake blood squirting it on her must have had a fun time.
Oh, that was great. And she just walks back into the camp and like all the blood, like didn't even bother cleaning it off.
You know what I think is quite interesting, speaking about all the blood? How interesting that two characters, Daemon and Princess Rhaenyra, are both covered in blood.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Even more showing that their pairing needs to happen.
Yep.
And that their pairing will bring more blood.
Yep, absolutely. Mary.
Blood.
Blood.
Speaking of blood.
Yep.
Viserys just can't get anything right. God bless him. Yep. He tries, but he fails. He has... Oh, you know what I can't wait for, Rhaenyra? When you have babies and then I get to have grandbabies. Yeah, Dad, because that's exactly what I want. I'm still watching the image of Mom dying in childbirth that you made her have. And all of the struggle. I can't wait to have a baby. Oh, what was the last thing my mom said to me? Oh, our war is having babies. Like, this is the worst thing, and it's hard, and it can be scary and dangerous.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. I'm so excited that you want grandbabies that are going to be the same age as your new babies.
Oh, goodness gracious. You know nothing is good is coming out of it.
I love it. It'd be like someone be like, oh, I can't wait for you to get your wisdom teeth out. Won't it be so fun? No. Who have you heard that said, I love getting my wisdom teeth out? Feels great.
You know who didn't say that? Me. You want to know why? Because I'm the next step in human evolution. I only have 2 wisdom teeth and they came in perfectly.
Well, guess what? Viserys is missing 2 fingers.
Oh, yeah. You know what that, my friend, that is...
Not great, Bob.
You know the infection's only going to grow. It's only going to keep getting worse.
What kind of infection is
Whatever
this?
It is, who knows?
It is maggot proof, I tell you that. Because it went from 1 finger to 2 fingers. Maybe he's just going to have a knob. Maybe he'll have a hook.
Oh.
Maybe he'll have a dragon claw glove.
What do you think about the time jump?
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I think you kind of have to have time jumps. Because if you compress all of these events into, a certain amount of time, it won't work. You have to have the time jump. I hope that they eventually slow down with the time jump. I hope that they get to a point where they're like, okay, we're gonna stick to this now. Mm-hmm. But in order for the events to have any weight, Alicent needs to have the baby. Alicent needs to have another child on the way in order for any of this to work. Mm-hmm. And in order for that to happen, you need the time jump. And I wonder how far they're going to go. And I wonder when the story will take root, right? Like, because we know that there are older actors for certain characters that come into play. But when do they come into play, right? Like, my guess is that halfway through the season, we probably get some... We probably get to the point
where
they're older.
Are you asking me, or are you just...
Yeah, like, what do you think?
Theorizing.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think it's next episode.
Really?
Yep. Or, no, you know what? Not next episode. Because Daemon has to come home after all that blood and stuff. Mm-hmm. Unless there's another big jump. And during that time, he gets to go on a parade of sorts through those areas.
Yep.
And then he comes back a couple years later.
Yep. Do you put any significance to Rhaenyra seeing the white stag and Viserys not seeing the white stag?
Yeah, you're the chosen one.
So you think that she is the person that
She
should be
is.
leading?
Yes,
Do you think that she should be leading or Daemon should be leading?
she should.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, why do you think that Aegon is not the person that should be?
He's 2.
Good point. Good point. And
I know nothing about him.
you wonder what that means for Otto Hightower, and if Aegon is not the chosen, is not the chosen one, what that means for him and how he will defend, because all of this is going to come crumbling down when Viserys dies. It is going to come crumbling down in a spectacular fashion, and that is probably when we get the older actors.
I did love being in the Godswood.
How come?
I missed those trees with weird faces on them.
Sure, why not?
I love the red leaves.
Red leaves are great.
I just feel attached.
It's like a Japanese maple tree, but cooler.
I don't know. It's just neat to think, who do we know from Game of Thrones who has seen that tree? Who else has prayed to that weird-looking face?
Well, we know that. The Eddard Stark, he prayed at those trees. We know that his daughter prayed at those trees. So, it's
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that we've seen those. I love having these landmarks brought back to us, and we get to have those little moments of memories.
Are you really buying Sir Criston Cole? Like, honest to God, now, I know we joked about it, but are you really buying this whole Sir Criston Cole and Rhaenyra thing?
What about it? That they're friends?
No, but are you buying it? Like they're gonna be a thing?
I don't know. I appreciate their friendship. I'm glad she has a friend.
Yeah.
Rather than just her DJ.
Good
and
point.
I like because they're both not what would have been chosen. Sir Criston Cole would not have been the person chosen.
Gotcha.
And he's been given a unique opportunity that he wants.
Great point.
Whereas Rhaenyra was given an opportunity is not what everyone wants, and she has to kind of now fight for it. Like, now that he's there, I don't think that people are misjudging him. I think that he is now okay in this new position. Whereas Rhaenyra, as she gets closer to her new position, I mean, she already is in a new position as the heir. Everyone is judging her the entire time.
Gotcha. I like that pull, Mary. I like that pull a lot. And as a matter of fact, Sir Criston Cole, we learn more about him in this episode, as a matter of fact. He is not from Dorne, as was suspected by Rhaenyra. He is actually from the Stormlands, and his father served in the Blackhaven. And he is not highborn. He would have been, married to a common girl, if not for being part of the Kingsguard. And all of that was bestowed upon him by Rhaenyra, which for her, when she says, I don't have any power, everything has been stripped from me, I love when he turns back and says, I owe everything to you. Mm-hmm. You're the one who made this choice, and you have upped my rank in society. I'm now part of the Kingsguard, right? Like, it's these subtle things that keep showing in between these characters that where you finally get a chance to actually latch on to Sir Criston Cole a little bit. And that's why I'm saying this is the episode, I think, where everything jumps off. Mm-hmm. From here, we get to where we're going. Like everything else that's going to happen from here until the end of episode 10, all of that will matter because of what happens here. Mm-hmm. And it's not solely contingent upon this episode. Like, there is going to be other things that develop throughout the remainder of the season, but all of it will find its roots here. And now that we've finally gotten past the world building, and we're not getting past it, but we're not stuck on it. We can start to see little fingers spread out.
2 fingers, to be exact.
Well, we're missing 2
that
fingers,
have been
really.
Exactly. We're going to find them. You just said we're going to start to find little fingers.
Just little fingers everywhere.
That's where I put them.
So yeah, that's that. You have anything else that you'd like to say about this episode, my love?
It was exciting. I still don't love anyone.
Yeah, that's actually where I wanted to go with this final portion, which is where are we with the show for you? Because I think your take on the show is really important in terms of the wide audience. I think a lot of people fall where you are, and I think you have a bigger perspective on the wider audience. So where are you with this? Is it better now? Is it still the same? How you feeling?
The same. I am watching it because I enjoy watching it, and I have emotional investment in this world and in these families. And yeah, like you said, wow, you get to see a lion and automatically you're going to know that that's a Lannister. Mm-hmm. That's what's cool for me. But I still don't have somebody to love. I just don't. It's not Rhaenyra. She's boring. She's cool, but she's like, I don't know.
Well, it's okay if you don't love her. It's fine.
She's stoic. That's what she is. And she has to be. And she has to, I don't know. She puts up this, it makes me think of the women who, when they go into the workplace, they feel like they have to talk lower so people believe them that they're a serious businesswoman. Sure. Instead of having more higher. She has to change a lot of who she is because of the position she's in. So that being said, I'm not warm and fuzzy for her. Mm-hmm. And I am cheering hardcore for Daemon. I still think that he's my favorite person to watch. I will say that. And my sneaky little bad person, we had this the last episode, who am I excited for? Who am I rooting for?
I was going to get into that next.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, but I stand by it. I enjoy it for almost for like the nosiness of it. Mm-hmm. It's not, okay. It is not a trashy reality TV show. It is not that. But I watch it because it makes me feel like that. In the sense that I just want to know. Like I watched that really terrible show on Netflix, Love is Blind, and then Love is Blind 2. Not good. Not good. But I want to know.
You needed to know.
I need to know, is the super Christian blonde girl who wanted the other hot guy does she really end up marrying the atheist who she originally said no to? Does she? I'm just interested to know. So I am interested to see how things play.
So is it the family dynamic that's bringing you to the show, or is it the action that's bringing you to the show?
It's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It is Westeros. It is dragons. That is what's bringing me to the show.
Gotcha.
I don't particularly love the score.
Not yet. Although there was a really cool point in this episode where they altered the Targaryen theme a little bit. It almost had like a chorus feel to it. But it was different. It was during the scene when Rhaenyra was walking back with all the blood on her. It was a really cool score, thematic scoring moment. But I'm also going to stick by my point, Mary, that the show is its most electric when Daemon is on screen.
Yep.
It is. And there's just no way around it. When he is on screen, things are happening.
Agreed.
Good, bad, ugly, sad, happy, terrifying. I don't know what's going to come from that character, and that's why it's good.
I think the other thing about my hesitancy to be attached to the show, once again, friends, I am not saying this is Jersey Shore or Love is Blind. I'm not. I'm here for it. I'm enjoying it. But I think the other thing that's holding me back from being attached to anybody is I know there is going to be another time jump. Spoilerific, friends.
Good point.
They have come out and said that they have like a second cast for many people to age them up into adult years. So I have a difficult time every once in a while, like when we watched The Crown and the actors change, it takes me a little while to get attached to them because I don't see them as the previous person. And now I have to get Daemon to not be Prince Philip. Anyway, Daemon is Daemon. I'm fine with that. But what I'm saying is that part of me is a little hesitant because this isn't going to be, for example, Rhaenyra.
Yep.
That's not going to be Rhaenyra forever, friends.
Correct.
Spoiler, but not spoiler, because it's been out there. And she's kind of been the cover image for this show. She's been the big catalyst. And really, I'm invested more in Daemon.
Agreed.
So that's
maybe by attaching Rhaenyra to Daemon, because again, that's what your father has proposed, and I think that's the route that they're going to go. Maybe by attaching Rhaenyra to Daemon, and we have that rock, if you will, of that, and that we get to transfer our feelings from Daemon to Rhaenyra and vice versa, because they'll be attached together at some point. I think that is how we can move forward with those two characters. But either way, Mary, I think it's a fair point that you get to say that they're going to be different actors, and yes, they're the same character, but there'll be differences. And looking back, Millie Alcock playing Rhaenyra is going to be a pin drop, really, when you look back at the history of House of the Dragon. So it'll be interesting.
It will be.
All right, so let's play the game, Mary.
Okay.
Let's play the game. Who are you rooting for, and who's the bad guy?
I'm rooting for Daemon.
Oh, okay.
I'm so excited for him and his bloody mess, and I can't wait to see what happens for him. And who is my new bad guy?
Yeah.
Who's going to be my new bad guy? Who did I say was my bad guy last time?
I don't remember.
Because, of course, I want to say Hightower. I think he's
Otto Hightower?
Yeah. You know who I'm going to pick?
Yeah.
Clubfoot Kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Larys Strong?
Yes.
Okay.
Because why are we spending time with him? And why is he going with the gossiping ladies?
Well, you see, I'm going to say, you want to know who I'm rooting for?
Tell me.
I'm rooting for Larys Strong, baby.
Really?
Oh, Clubfoot. Give me all the Clubfoot. You want to know why?
Why?
He's the new Lady Whistledown. That's who he is. For all you Bridgerton nerds, that means he's the gossip monger.
Oh, I love it.
He can't walk around. He can't, do all the hunting stuff. And you see him when he's drinking his cup of coffee or whatever he was drinking, and everybody was arguing, and
he was eating a cookie.
Whatever he was eating, whatever. He's eating something, he's drinking. Who cares? Stats are for nerds. All I'm saying is he is the wallflower. He is just on the wall looking at everybody. He might as well wear his Penelope Featherington yellow dress, okay? Because he is gathering all the information.
I love it.
All he does is just take in stuff and report it back to whoever. And because of that, sneaky bad guy, Lionel Strong.
Wait,
sneaky bad guy.
My favorite guy?
Yeah, sneaky bad. You want to know why?
Why?
Because he's taking out all that information from his brother. And he's using it to his own advantage.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's a sneaky bad guy.
Okay.
So they put him off as too smart,
so trustworthy,
too trustworthy. Too many things happening, and they're pushing you in a way that Otto Hightower is the bad guy. Nope, Lionel Strong, sneaky bad guy. Call it right here, right now.
I'm going to stand by Lionel. Poor thing.
All right, ready to close this bad boy out?
Sure am.
Let's do it.
So incredibly much. As we said at the beginning of this episode, this has been brought to you by minutewithmary.com. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, I would love to connect with you. All you got to do is search the hashtag minutewithmary. And if you are on Facebook, I do have an exclusive Facebook group where I share all sorts of tips and tricks in regards to help you feel more confident with your makeup and skincare. And as a podcast listener, you are entitled to a discounted tube of our favorite mascara.
Oh, yes.
Just go to minutewithmary.com. That's minutewithmary.com/discount. And we will take care of you there.
And of course, remember too, when you're speaking of Facebook and Instagram and all those, YouTube and all those great places, make sure you check out Mary and Blake on all of the social platforms, and check out the special Mary and Blake Facebook group where you get to chat with all the other nerds and have a good time talking about House of the Dragon and, of course, our other brand new show, Rings of Power. And I cannot wait to have a conversation one day with you, Mary, about the differences and the dichotomy shared between Rings of Power and
That's going to be a doozy.
House of the Dragon, and what it all means, and how they are two very separate shows with the same goal in mind. Two very, very different shows, which is fascinating to me. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of wins this battle of the fantasy genre. Because they're happening concurrently, right?
Yes.
So it's inevitable they're going to be compared. It's inevitable. They have to be compared against each other. So I look forward to that. And of course, also remember, go to jointhenerdclan.com as well. That's where you get a chance to support Mary and Blake and all the things that we're doing here at Mary and Blake Media, because this is a mom and pop podcast shop. Without you at jointhenerdclan.com, none of this happens. Absolutely none of it. So please go there. And you don't just go there just to go. You go there and get cool stuff like free swag and Blake's book club and knee-jerk reactions and early access to our podcast episodes and special time with Mary and myself and meeting with all the other nerds at jointhenerdclan.com. It's a special place. So don't miss out on that.
All right, friends. On that note, my name's Mary.
My name is Blake.
Truck.